Welcome everybody back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about Nick Castellanos, who has been rumored to the Padres. Nothing official or nothing legit, just Twitter rumors really. But it's an interesting conversation. He's a guy that people have brought up a lot in the past. We've never done a segment on him, but today we're going to be talking about, him potentially going there and the pros and cons for this signing. So we'll just all three go through it once. Isaac, what's the good side of the signing? What's the bad side? And also, do you want to get into a little bit of what he's interested as a deal as well?
The good side of the signing is that he's from Hialeah, Florida. Manny's also from that same area. So obviously there's probably some chemistry there. We saw at the All-Star game that Manny, Fernando, and Castellanos were chatting it up. So I'm sure there's mutual interest in joining and being on the team together. Sorry, I'm still pretty sick. But I mean, guy coming off 30 plus bombs seemed to really hold his own this year in Cincinnati. But I mean, he was an all-star, but that's really all I can say about him. He got to play in the Great American Ballpark, or what people call the Great American Small Park. So that's got to help a bunch in terms of those 30-something plus bombs. I don't know how many seasons he's had over a 4 WAR, but he had a 4.2 this year, so I guess that's pretty good. Higher than somebody that I'd rather have, Chris Bryant. But the difference being is that Chris Bryant posted 3 straight seasons of 6+ WAR, and he was one of the best players in baseball. Each of those 3 seasons, posted another one over 4, and was at a 3.6 this year on Fangraphs. So that's absolutely somebody I'd rather have over Nick Castellanos. The problem with Nick Castellanos is I think you're buying high. I think you're doing what AJ Preller has repeatedly failed to do. Or, well, he's done it successfully, which is the buying high aspect. But having somebody that has succeeded after buying high, that is what he's failed to do consistently. And I think that's what this is. This is the first time that I really heard of Castellanos. I mean, I've heard of Nick Castellanos before plenty of times, but this is really the first time I heard of him as like a household name. And I have a lot of clearly we as Padre fans have bad memories of our organization buying high on players, and I think this would be one of those instances. He's looking for a 7 or 8 year deal. He's already 30. That's not something we should want as a fan base. I think. We already saw Eric Hosmer signed, and he was on around 29 or 30. I forgot how old he was. And that's not looking good. That was also an example. That wasn't even buying high. That was just, you were desperate. So I don't really know what to think. I don't want Nick Castellanos, and I know that might not be a popular opinion, but unless he can hit 30 bombs again, which he's only done once in his career in one of the smallest ballparks, if not the smallest in the MLB, I don't want him.
Yeah, I'm with you right there. So I'm just gonna go over the baseball savant numbers. Where he hits really well. He was in top 80% in max exit velo, hard hit percentage, expected WOBA, expected batting average, expected slugging, barrel percentage. But where he lacked, he was below average in walking, below average in whiff percentage. He was extremely below average, like bottom 10% in chase rate, bottom 10% in outs above average, and bottom 10% in outfielder jump. So guy doesn't walk a lot, and he chases a ton. We already have a lot of guys on the team that strike out a lot, and him not walking doesn't help his case. And him being a poor defender, being one of the slowest outfielders there can possibly be, and having, bottom 6% of outs above average, you're getting a very below outfielder just to say, to justify 30 bombs. When there were people complaining about Myers' defense in the outfield, which would be way better than that because Myers rated above average in outs above average and in sprint speed. He was around average. Nick Castellanos was around average in sprint speed. Myers' baseball savant numbers don't look amazing this year, but his last 5 years, everything was in the red. This year, we can call an outlier and see if he makes adjustments next year. What basically you want is take 2020 Myers, but take away the defense, and that's Nick Castellanos. Take away the speed and the defense, and that's what you're paying for. I don't think that's what we want. I think we want a guy that's a little younger, a guy that can, sure, he may We don't need him to hit 30 bombs. We need him to hit like 15 to 20 with good defense and gets on base a lot and can walk with the ability to walk. Nick Castellanos is not that. And plus, he wants a 7-year deal at 30 years old. He's going to want like probably 15 to 20 million a year. We have that in Eric. He was coming off a career year, coming when he was 27, 28. It just feels like an Eric Hosmer signing all over again, just in a worse position because you have such good talent in the minor leagues at the outfield position. So I don't like it.
So I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of it, but I do want to say, as a pro, I think you would be getting a player that's very good early on in the deal. I don't know, like Isaac, you brought up his numbers last year were fantastic, and it was a career year for him by far. And he was very hot at the end of 2019 with the Cubs, and then he also had pretty solid years in 2018 as well. But you look at he's been pretty good. 2019, 2020, under 800 OPSs. And you brought up a guy, Isaac, Chris Bryant, who would be probably quite a bit cheaper, I would expect. I don't know exactly what the market is for Chris Bryant, but for Castellanos, it's like 7 years. I would guess like 20 to 27 million, somewhere around that. Like like based on some of the other deals.
Real quick, his calculated market value is 22.
For Castellanos or Bryant?
Castellanos.
Okay, yeah. And so that's a lot of money. And it might be worth it at first, but we're also talking about a guy that Chase, you brought up the defensive metrics, and he has not posted good defensive numbers throughout his career. He's going to be a guy that will eventually be a DH. Do you want to sign a guy to a 7-year contract that in like 2 years is going to be your everyday DH for 5 seasons and be locked into that guy? And it's not like he's come out here and he's hit 40 bombs a bunch of years, and he's been this guy that has like over a 900 OPS. And, if you just take him out of that defensive spot. I mean, we had Franmil Reyes who could do that pretty good. We had Hunter Renfroe who was hitting bombs. Isaac, we were on his show last night. He was talking about it too. He wanted Hunter Renfroe to come back, and he's going to be back with the Red Sox. But there's a lot of guys like that you could get a similar production to Nick Castellanos that aren't going to cost you a 7-year contract where he's making $22 million. I also think that, excuse me, I also think that's a little bit low too. So I don't know. Anything else you guys want to add though?
Yeah, I just looked up Chris Bryant's calculated market value, or whatever it's called. It was 22.5, so only an extra million. And I actually, even though that's what it says, I actually think it would be cheaper. Coming off the kind of year that Nick Castellanos had, I think he's going to cost a lot of money. I would think he's going to be 25 plus a year, which too much for a guy that just had his breakout year after kind of being in the league for a while. And I don't know how many times I got to bring it up. He got to play in that ballpark. With that being said, though,
one sec, I have to tell you this right now. That's hilarious. I just brought up that Hunter Renfroe is a Red Sox. Literally right now, I just got a notification he got traded to the Brewers. That's hilarious. Wow. It's just funny that I literally just said his name.
Crazy.
Wow.
Luis Urias and Hunter Renfroe are back together. That's kind of cool.
Small world.
Yeah, man. But I don't know, dude. I think Chris Bryant would be a better pickup. You're just looking at a guy with better, just who's going to bring more value to your team for the price. The guy that can play left field, third base, and whatever other positions he could play. I'm sure he could play first on any given day. It's just bring that up. Yeah, exactly. He can play first on any given day. He's not even a natural left fielder, and he's probably a better fielder than Nick Castellanos is. And if Manny needs a break, he can slide into third. I mean, I don't know what. It's just positional versatility. A guy that he just hit 25 bombs with. You guys know he has potential for more. He probably has 30 plus potential. He has an MVP. He has a Rookie of the Year. He's just a better value.
Into the World Series.
Won the World Series as the star player. So I don't know. I mean, I would love for them to get Chris Bryant. I don't know how realistic it is. Obviously, Nick Castellanos seems pretty realistic. but I'm kind of praying that they don't go that direction.
I'm with you on the Bryant. 100% need to go Chris Bryant rather than Castellanos. He's younger. His potential, or I feel like his ceiling is way higher. We saw Chris Bryant in his MVP season, and I still feel like he's got at least another one of those seasons in him. He can play left field. He can play the infield. I'm pretty sure you can throw him at first base, and you get some speed potential out of first. And even when he gets older, he probably wants an 8 to 10 year contract. You can throw him at the DH at the end of his contract and be okay with it. Nick Castellanos, I don't know about that, because at the end of his contract, he's going to be. He wanted a 7-8 year deal.
I think like 36 would be his last year, 36 or 37.
I don't like that because we're already going to have Manny being that age at the same time. And then you're going to have either a 37-year-old third baseman, or, Manny could probably slide over to first. But we saw Justin Turner at the end of his career still playing third, but he was getting injured quite a bit. So, you want to save that DH spot for probably Manny. You don't want to sign another long-term deal to just have another DH and have two people fighting over your DH spot, or having another 37-year-old outfielder. It just doesn't make sense in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. But anyone that wants Castellanos, I know there's a lot of people out there. Make your case in the comments. I definitely want to see what you guys are thinking. And like I said, I think early on it would definitely help this team. I think it's just more of like you're putting yourself into a similar situation that you did with Hosmer, though Nick Castellanos is a much better player and I think is more deserving of a bigger contract than Hosmer was. I think we'd all agree with that one, but still skeptical on the deal. But let us know what you think about that. And also what you think on Chris Bryant too, because we ended up talking about him quite a bit. But that's going to do it for today's episode. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk very soon.